In the remote Himalayan mountains, 4 kayakers try to conquer the world's most dangerous river. But they get more than they bargained for. Freak weather turns already furious rapids into raging killers. They're not all going to make it. Who will survive this expedition to the edge? In the deepest part of the Tsangpo Gorge, the team of veteran whitewater expeditionists encounters a set of especially treacherous rapids. Longtime friends and colleagues Jamie McEwen and Doug Gordon have calculated the safest route.
Doug and I stood together for a while, and we talked about where to go along the left bank.
As the team's scout, Doug will run the rapid first.
Doug is a scientist, picking out the lines, analyzing the features of the river, and exploring it to its nth degree.
He said to me specifically, the main drop, the farthest right of those 4 choices, was really bad because if you went over that and something happened, then you'd be swept right out into the main current.
Even Tom, the team's daring leader, opts to walk around these rapids. He waits downstream with his safety rope and video camera.
I looked out across at this great expanse of river, and I looked at my rope, which was only 60 feet worth, and I knew that there was no use that this rope was going to give me.
Doug puts in and hugs the left side of the pounding current. But suddenly, mysteriously, he veers to the right, straight for the falls.
There may have been something that Doug had seen from in his boat that made him choose the line he did.
I was standing there taking still photos as he approached the edge. I didn't realize as quickly as Roger that he was going to actually go for a different route than we discussed.
Tom captures Doug's drop with his video camera. He makes it over, but his boat, pummeled by the falls, flips over. Doug seems unable to regain control.
And then it spit him out of the hole, out into the main current, and down toward the next rapid.
Jamie watches helplessly from the bank.
I'd seen Doug do this many, many times before. He's going to roll up, he's going to surf in, he's going to shrug, he's going to say, whoops. And when he missed his roll, I was shocked and worried. And then when he missed his second roll, I was in harm.
And at that point, I knew even if he had made the third one, he was already committed to the next rapid. I didn't believe, as soon as I saw him going to that rapid, that he would survive.
When Doug went off the edge, his momentum was sufficient to carry him clear of the falls. But a hydraulic pulled the stern of his boat back in. And the force of the falling water flipped it violently. Doug snapped his hips, attempting to roll. But the overloaded boat may have been too heavy to maneuver.
If Doug was dislodged from his hip padding or his thigh braces, then the hip snap was going to be not very effective.
The team begins a desperate attempt to find their friend.
Roger and Tommy took off down the bank, whereas I chose to boat. One part of my mind was pretty sure that he was gone, and yet there's this other part of my mind that said, no, I'm gonna find him.
But Doug is gone.
I almost thought I was going to hear him from behind a rock saying, hey guys, what's going on? Hey, I'm here.
Tom, Roger, and Jamie search for 4 hours, moving downstream until their path is blocked by sheer cliffs.
We felt we couldn't go any further without some serious rock climbing. And at this point, we started hiking back upstream to where the accident happened, to where we had left our boats.
The team contacts Wick. then spends the next few days in a search for Doug that minute by minute seems increasingly futile.
Well, when we got there, as the days went by and we got more and more contact, of course, it became clearer and clearer that this had been a fatal accident.
After 4 days, the devastated team reluctantly decides to end their search.
It's possible he had been forced to the bottom of the river and pinned on the bottom. We never saw Doug again.
No trace of Doug or his boat is ever found.
It's just as if all of the joy of the landscape had just dissipated, you know, and it wasn't there anymore. Jamie was struck the hardest of all of us because of his closeness to Doug.
Jamie feels it's his duty to call Doug's wife, Connie, and tell her that her husband, the father of their 2 children, is gone.
It was really tough too, just talking to Connie and to Doug and Connie's 2 boys, and I just found it heart-wrenching.
The team gathers on the banks of the Tsangpo for a solemn memorial to their friend.
Heavenly Father, we're gathered here, Lord, in your presence. We take it, God, as dear friend.
Doug was the expedition's heart and inspiration. Without him, they can't go on.
You saw it happen to Doug, who felt like the strongest paddler on the trip, and it just really left you with some powerful feelings of wanting to come back alive.
After 30 days, the team decides to end the expedition. It takes them another week to hike back to civilization. Jamie is so devastated by the loss of his friend, he gets physically ill.
Let me out.
Yeah.
All I have mixed feelings about facing the world.
I guess I kind of collapsed. It was just kind of a bleak time for me there.
Wick Walker's decades-old dream has turned into a nightmare. Like the good soldier he is, he prepares to deal with the consequences.
Almost better and more restful back there thrashing through the woods than working our way back to the States now and dealing with the aftermath of this thing. So mixed feelings, definitely. Time to get on with it, I guess.
Wick goes on to write a book about the expedition dedicated to Doug's memory. Roger Zabel reassesses his taste for extreme kayaking.
After the Tibet trip, my tolerance for putting myself in extremely risky positions certainly shrunk down.
Today, he runs a rafting company in Maryland, where he lives with his wife and daughter. And Tom, still a teacher and river rafting leader, has a new, more cautious attitude.
I think I'm a different leader. I'm probably more categorical about things, and I carry my responsibilities a little bit differently.
Doug remains a presence in the thoughts of his close friend, Jamie McEwen.
He was a great partner on the river, and I relied on him, and I had a lot of fun with him. And I think that we all, remember him fondly and feel a connection today.
But the survivors of the expedition also remember the terrible beauty of the Tsangpo.
And to tell you the truth, I'm still kind of fascinated with it. And I still feel the allure and the pull of that landscape. And I dream about it, and I imagine going back, although I don't think I really will.
This program honors Doug Gordon, who lost his life pursuing his passion, running the rapids of the Tsangpo River.